The cry in the battlefield, the sky was dark with smoke. The battlefield was burning after the clash of humans and aliens. Explosions had torn the ground into pieces, and the air was full of fire and dust. A human soldier named Ryan moved carefully among the ruins. His uniform was torn, his face was covered in dirt, and his arm was bleeding. He had survived the fight, but his heart was heavy with fear and exhaustion. The silence after the battle felt strange. Only the sound of distant fire and broken machines could be heard. Ryan's boots pressed against shattered metal as he searched for water. He wanted to find shelter before night. But then something unexpected happened. A faint cry touched his ears. It was not the cry of a grown soldier. It was soft, weak, and filled with pain. Ryan froze in place. His hand gripped his rifle tightly. He thought it might be a trap. Enemy soldiers often use tricks to lure humans into ambushes. He waited, listening. The cry came again, this time clearer. It was the voice of a little girl. His heart began to beat faster. He turned his head towards the sound and moved slowly. His boots kicked ashes and broken wires as he stepped closer. The cry grew louder, behind a pile of collapsed beams and broken alien machines. He saw a small figure. It was a little alien girl. Trapped under heavy steel, she was trembling. Her skin had a pale silver glow. Her big eyes were wet with tears, and her small hands were bleeding from trying to push the beams away. She wore a torn dress that looked royal. Around her neck was a pendant glowing with a strange blue light. For a moment, Ryan hesitated. His training told him not to trust aliens. They were the enemy. They had destroyed cities and killed thousands of humans. Saving her could mean danger. If his commanders saw him, they would call him a traitor. But when he looked into her eyes, he did not see an enemy. He saw fear, pain, and the innocence of a child. The girl looked up at him and whispered weakly, "Please, help me." Her voice was soft, but full of desperation. Ryan threw his rifle to the ground and ran to her side. He pushed against the heavy beams. His muscles screamed with pain. His injured arm almost gave up. But he refused to stop. Sweat ran down his forehead. After minutes of struggle, he finally managed to move the steel enough to pull her out. The little girl gasped as she was freed. She held her pendant tightly and clung to Ryan's arm. Her body was cold. She looked into his eyes and said, "Don't leave me." Ryan took a deep breath. He wrapped his jacket around her small frame. Her silver skin shimmered under the firelight. He looked around the battlefield. He knew soldiers from both sides would come soon. If they found him with her, both of them would die. The soldier's mind raced with choices. He could abandon her and walk away. He could hand her over to his army, or he could protect her. Knowing it would change his life forever, he stared at the horizon where smoke met the sky. Then he looked back at the trembling child in his arms. He made his decision. He would save her, no matter what price he had to pay. The battlefield was still dangerous. Drones buzzed in the distance. Broken weapons glowed in the dark. Ryan lifted the girl onto his back and began to move. Every step was heavy, but her small arms around his neck gave him strength. Behind them, the fire roared louder. The war was not over, but something new had begun. A human soldier had chosen to save the alien queen's little girl. And with that choice, his destiny was forever changed. Escape under fire, Ryan carried the alien girl tightly in his arms. The smoke around the battlefield was still thick, and every step he took felt dangerous. The little girl clung to him, her pendant glowing softly in the dark. He whispered, "Stay quiet." His eyes scanned the ruins. Always alert, in the distance, he heard the sharp buzz of alien drones. They were moving in groups, searching for survivors. The war might have ended in this area, but the machines were still hunting. Ryan ducked behind a broken wall. Pressing his back against the cold stone, the girl's breathing was shaky, and her tears wet his uniform. "Who are you?" Ryan asked softly, trying to keep her calm. "My name is Lyra," the girl whispered. Her voice trembled. But there was pride in the way she said her name. "I am." Daughter of the Queen, Ryan's heart froze. His hands tightened around her without realizing it. The daughter of the Queen. That meant she was no ordinary child. She was the most valuable person among her kind. Her life could change the war. Whoever controlled her controlled peace or destruction. Ryan's mind raced. If his commanders knew, they would take her, use her, maybe even hurt her. And if the aliens found him with her, they would kill him immediately. Protecting her was not just dangerous, it was impossible. But when Lyra looked at him with her wide glowing eyes and whispered, "Don't let them take me," his decision became stronger. He could not hand her to anyone, not human or alien. He would protect her himself. Suddenly, a sharp sound cut through the night. Ryan's instincts kicked in. He pushed Lyra down behind the wall. A beam of red light hit the stone where they had just been. Enemy patrol. 2 alien soldiers were sweeping the area, their weapons glowing. Ryan raised his rifle and fired. One alien dropped instantly. The other shouted, sending an alarm signal. Ryan cursed under his breath. He grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her through the ruins. Bullets and plasma beams flew past them. Tearing through broken walls, they ran across the battlefield, climbing over wreckage, crawling under twisted metal. Ryan's lungs burned, his wound reopened, blood soaking his sleeve. But he did not slow down. Lyra stumbled but held on, her pendant glowing brighter as if guiding them. "Here," Ryan hissed, spotting a half-destroyed trench. He pushed her inside and jumped after her. The ground shook with explosions. Alien drones circled above. Searching with red beams of light, Ryan covered Lyra's small body with his own, praying the drones would not see them. Minutes passed like hours. The sound of boots and engines echoed close. Lyra whispered, "They will find us." Her voice shook. But Ryan put a finger on her lips. "Not if we stay quiet," he whispered back. His eyes stayed on the red lights sweeping the ruins. His finger rested firmly on the trigger of his rifle. Finally, the drones moved away. The enemy patrol disappeared into the smoke. Ryan let out a long breath. His body was heavy with exhaustion, but his spirit burned with determination. Lyra's pendant pulsed with light again. Projecting a faint image, Ryan blinked in shock. It showed the alien queen, her face full of sorrow. She called out in her own language, searching for her lost daughter. Lyra touched the hologram with shaking hands. "Mother," she whispered. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Ryan felt the weight of his decision more than ever. He now knew this child truly belonged to the Queen. The most powerful being of her people was calling for her, but Ryan also knew that if he gave her up, the war might never end. Humans would use her as a weapon, and the aliens might take revenge. He whispered to her, "I will take you back, but safely. You must trust me." Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining with both fear and hope. For a moment, she nodded. The night grew darker. The wind carried the smell of smoke and death. Ryan lifted her again and began to move towards the mountains in the distance. The ruins behind them still glowed with fire. But ahead, there was only shadow and uncertainty. Every step they took was full of danger. Enemy forces could appear at any moment. His own army could catch him and call him a traitor. Yet Ryan felt something new burning inside him. It was not just duty, it was something deeper. The will to protect a child who trusted him completely. As they disappeared into the night, the battlefield behind them echoed with more explosions. But Ryan did not look back. He knew the real battle had just begun. The long night was colder than Ryan expected. The battlefield was far behind, but danger was still everywhere. The moonlight fell over the broken land, showing shadows of burned trees and shattered machines. Ryan held Lyra close as they walked through the ruins of what once was a small village. He found an old shelter, half destroyed. With stone walls still standing, it was not safe. But it was better than open ground. He guided Lyra inside and set her down on a broken wooden bench. Her face was pale, her silver skin bruised, and her small body shivered. Ryan searched through his bag and found a small first aid kit. His hands worked quickly, wrapping her wounds, cleaning the cuts. He whispered softly, "This will hurt a little, but you will be okay." Lyra bit her lip but stayed quiet. Her wide eyes watched him closely, curious about everything he did. When he finished, he gave her a small canteen of water. She drank slowly, then asked, "Why are you helping me?" "Humans hate us." Ryan paused. His tired eyes met hers. "Not all humans. Some of us still remember what it means to protect the innocent." Lyra blinked. Her small hands touched the glowing pendant around her neck. "They call you destroyers. My mother always said humans only bring war." Ryan gave a tired smile. "Maybe she is right, but tonight I am not a destroyer. I am your shield for the first time since they met." Lyra gave him a faint smile. It was small, weak, but real. Suddenly, a noise came from outside. Ryan's body tensed. He grabbed his rifle and signaled Lyra to stay quiet. Footsteps crunched against the gravel. Low voices spoke in a foreign tongue. Alien scouts. Ryan lowered himself to the ground and crawled near the doorway. Through a crack in the wall, he saw two alien soldiers searching the ruins. Their weapons glowed faint red. Their eyes scanned the shadows. One of them stepped closer, raising a scanning device. Ryan's heart pounded. He looked back at Lyra. She was trembling, but trying not to make a sound. He raised a finger to his lips, silently reminding her to stay still. The scout's light beam moved across the wall. It was inches away from Ryan's face. He gripped his rifle tighter, ready to fire. His breath was slow, controlled. The silence felt like a rope around his neck. Then, a sharp howl echoed in the distance. A wild animal. The scouts paused, confused. They muttered to each other and turned away. Moving toward the noise, Ryan exhaled. His body relaxed just enough. He returned to Lyra's side and whispered, "We were lucky, but next time." "We may not be." Lyra leaned against him, her small hands clinging to his sleeve. "You saved me again." Ryan shook his head. "We're not safe yet. We must keep moving before dawn. The night may hide us, but the morning will reveal everything still." They stayed in the shelter for a few hours. Ryan sat against the wall, his rifle across his lap. His eyes stayed half open, fighting sleep. Lyra curled up beside him, her head rested against his chest. Her breathing softened as she finally drifted into sleep. For the first time in years, Ryan felt something he had lost: peace. Not for himself, but for her. He looked down at her small face and thought of the world they both came from. Two enemies, born to fight, but here they were, together. Sharing silence, the wind outside howled. Carrying smoke and ash, Ryan closed his eyes but stayed awake. His mind replayed the image of the Queen's hologram. Her desperate call for her daughter. He knew Lyra was not just a child. She was the key to ending or continuing the war. And now that key rested in his hands. Before dawn, he woke her gently. "We must go now." She rubbed her tired eyes, but obeyed. Together they left the shelter, stepping carefully into the cold morning shadows. The night had tested them with fear, silence, and danger. But it had also built something stronger. A fragile trust between a human soldier and the daughter of the alien queen. And as the sun slowly rose in the sky, Ryan knew their journey was only becoming harder. The real dangers were yet to come. But he also felt a strange fire inside his chest. He was no longer walking for himself. He was walking for her. The Queen's pendant, the morning air, was sharp and cold. Ryan walked with steady steps, keeping Lyra close. Her small legs struggled to keep pace, so sometimes he carried her on his back. The battlefield was behind them, but danger was never far. His eyes never stopped scanning the hills and broken paths. They followed an old road, cracked and half-covered by weeds. The silence felt heavy. Only the sound of their footsteps and the distant hum of machines filled the air. Lyra's pendant glowed faintly under the rising sun. Its blue light, soft but steady. Ryan noticed it again, that pendant. "It looks important," he said quietly. Lyra touched it with her small fingers. "It belongs to my mother. She gave it to me before the attack. She said it would keep me safe." Her voice broke as she remembered. "I thought she was gone forever." Before Ryan could answer, the pendant suddenly pulsed brighter. A beam of light shot into the air and created a small floating image. Ryan's eyes widened. It was a hologram of the alien queen. She stood tall, her silver crown shining. Her face carried sorrow and strength. She spoke in her alien tongue. The words filled with urgency and pain. Lyra gasped. "It's her." "My mother." Ryan's chest tightened. He could not understand the language, but he understood the feeling. A mother searching for her lost child. Her image flickered, pointing toward the mountains in the distance. Then it faded, leaving only the glowing pendant in Lyra's hands. Ryan took a deep breath. "So that's where she is." "The mountains," Lyra nodded. Tears welling in her eyes. "She is calling me. We must go there." Ryan looked at the horizon. The sharp peaks of the mountains rose like dark teeth against the sky. The path would not be easy, but now they had a direction. He placed a hand on Lyra's shoulder. "I promise to protect you, and I will keep that promise." We go to the mountains, but their journey did not stay quiet for long. A sharp buzzing filled the air. Ryan grabbed Lyra and pulled her behind a rock. A drone flew overhead. Scanning the ground with red beams, Ryan held her close. His body pressed against the stone. His heart pounded as the light passed inches away from them. When the drone moved on, Ryan whispered, "They are still searching for you. Both armies know you are alive now." Lyra's voice shook. "Why? Why do they want me so badly?" Ryan looked at her with a heavy heart. "Because you are more than just a child. You are the Queen's daughter. That makes you the most powerful secret in this war. Whoever controls you can control peace or destruction." Lyra's small hands gripped the pendant tightly. "I don't want to be a weapon. I just want to go home." Her words struck Ryan deeply. He remembered his own home, far away, the family he lost to war. He bent down and said softly, "You are not a weapon to me. You are a child, and I will get you home. Even if I have to fight the whole world." As they continued toward the mountains, they found a narrow cave hidden by rocks. Ryan decided to rest for a short while. Inside, the air was cool and damp. Shadows danced along the walls. Lyra sat near him, her eyes shining in the dim light. "Why do you care so much?" she asked, tilting her head. "Your own army will call you a traitor. They may even kill you for this." Ryan looked at the ground. Silent for a moment, then he said, "Because when I saw you under that wreckage, I saw my little sister. She died years ago when the war began. I couldn't save her, but I can save you." Lyra's eyes softened. She leaned against him, resting her small head on his arm. For the first time, she felt safe. The night began to fall as they stayed hidden. The pendant pulsed again, this time weaker, showing the Queen once more. She seemed more desperate, her voice shaking. The hologram flickered and then revealed something new, an ancient path through the mountains. glowing lines of light marking a secret way. Ryan's eyes narrowed. It's a map. He traced the glowing lines with his finger. Memorizing the direction, she is guiding us. Lyra smiled faintly. Mother believes I'm alive. She knows. Ryan nodded firmly. Then we cannot fail. Tomorrow, we follow this path, no matter what comes. We will reach her. Outside, the war continued. Distant flashes of fire lit the horizon. But inside the cave, a fragile hope was born. A soldier and a little alien girl sat together. Guided by the Queen's pendant, their bond grew stronger, and with it, the spark of something greater, the possibility of peace. The human army's verdict, the mountains were closer now, their sharp peaks cutting into the morning sky. Ryan and Lyra followed the hidden path shown by the pendant. The map's glowing lines still burned in Ryan's memory. Guiding his steps, every sound in the silence felt dangerous. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Lyra walked beside him. Her small hand gripping his sleeve, she tried to be brave. But her eyes often darted around with fear. Ryan noticed, and he kept his voice calm. We are close. Just a little more, but before they could reach the safety of the cliffs, a sudden shout broke the silence. Stop right there. Ryan froze. He turned slowly and saw a group of human soldiers stepping out from behind the rocks. Their weapons aimed directly at him. Their commander, a tall man with hard eyes, walked forward, his gaze locked on Lyra. Ryan's heart sank. He knew what was coming. The commander raised his hand. Ryan, you're under arrest. Hand over the alien child immediately. Lyra gasped and hid behind Ryan. Clutching his uniform, Ryan's grip tightened on his rifle. His own brothers in arms were now his enemies. She's just a child, Ryan said firmly. She is innocent. She doesn't belong in your cages. The commander's face hardened. You've lost your mind, soldier. Do you understand who she is? She is the Queen's daughter, with her in our hands. We can end this war on our terms. Hand her over. That's an order. Ryan shook his head. His voice was low but sharp. No, I won't let you use her. She is not a weapon. She is not a tool for war. She is just a little girl who wants to go home. The soldiers around the commander exchanged uneasy looks. Some seemed uncertain, but orders were orders. The commander's voice thundered. Ryan, don't make me repeat myself. Hand her over or face the consequences. Lyra's hand trembled in Ryan's. Her whisper was barely audible. Don't let them take me. Ryan looked into her eyes and made his choice. He dropped his rifle to the ground slowly. As if surrendering, the soldiers stepped closer. But then Ryan moved faster than they expected. He grabbed a smoke grenade from his belt and slammed it onto the ground. White smoke exploded around them. The soldiers shouted, confused. Their weapons fired blindly into the mist. Ryan grabbed Lyra and pulled her into the chaos. He pushed through the smoke, bullets sparking against stone. His lungs burned, but he kept running after them. The commander roared. Ryan and Lyra dashed through narrow paths, the sound of boots chasing them close behind. Lyra stumbled, but Ryan lifted her into his arms. His wounded arms screamed with pain, but he didn't stop. They reached a broken bridge that hung over a deep ravine. The wooden planks were rotten, the ropes frayed. Ryan had no choice. He looked back. Human soldiers were seconds away. He stepped onto the bridge, each plank groaning under his weight. Hold tight, he whispered to Lyra. She buried her face against his chest. Arrows of plasma fire zipped past them. The ropes shook violently. One plank broke and fell into the abyss below. Ryan moved carefully, each step a gamble. Finally, they reached the other side. He cut the rope with his knife. The bridge collapsed, crashing into the ravine. Blocking their pursuers, breathing heavily, Ryan set Lyra down. Her eyes were wide with shock. she hugged him tightly. "You didn't let them take me." Ryan stroked her hair gently. "I promised I wouldn't." "No one will take you while I still breathe." They rested inside a small cave nearby. Lyra sat close to him, still shaking. Ryan's mind was heavy. He had just betrayed his own army. There would be no going back. To them, he was no longer a soldier. He was a traitor. He stared at the mountains rising higher ahead. "We have to keep moving. The Queen's path is waiting for us." Lyra held up her pendant. The glow pulsing softly like a heartbeat, she whispered, "Mother is waiting. She will know what you did for me." Ryan gave a tired smile. "I don't care what anyone thinks. All I care about is keeping you safe." Outside the cave, the human soldiers regrouped. Their commander's voice echoed across the cliffs. "Ryan, you can't run forever. You've made your choice. Now you will pay for it." Ryan listened quietly. His hand rested on his rifle. His eyes sharp and determined. He knew they would keep coming. His own people wanted him dead. The aliens wanted Lyra back. Both sides would hunt them. But as Lyra leaned against him, her pendant glowing in the dark, Ryan felt no regret. He whispered to himself, "Let them come. I'll fight them all. She is worth it." The night fell heavy. The stars lit the sky above the mountains, and the path forward seemed endless. But Ryan was ready. The human army had judged him. And now the world would too. The final confrontation, the mountains rose high above Ryan and Lyra. Sharp peaks glowing under the pale light of dawn. The air was thin, cold, and heavy with silence. Ryan carried Lyra across rocky paths, his body aching from wounds and exhaustion, but his spirit strong. Each step brought them closer to the place the Queen's pendant had shown. But the silence soon broke. In the distance came the thunder of boots and the roar of alien engines. Ryan's heart sank. Both armies were converging on the same place. The humans were hunting him. The aliens were searching for their lost princess. "We don't have much time," Ryan whispered. His eyes scanned the cliffs. He guided Lyra into a narrow pass, shadows hiding them for a moment, but before they could move further, the sound of plasma fire echoed across the rocks. The battle had begun. Human soldiers poured into the valley, shouting orders. Their rifles flashed as they fired at alien troops who appeared from the opposite side. Bright beams lit the mountains. Explosions shook the ground. The two armies clashed violently, each one determined to take the girl. Ryan pulled Lyra behind a boulder. Shielding her with his body, "Stay down," he said firmly. Bullets and plasma beams tore through the air above them. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "They're all fighting because of me." Ryan held her tighter. "No, they're fighting because they want power. You're just the excuse. Don't blame yourself." The chaos grew louder. Smoke filled the valley. Ryan knew they couldn't stay hidden for long. A stray explosion sent rocks crashing near them. Ryan grabbed Lyra and ran through the dust, his lungs burning. Suddenly, a group of human soldiers spotted him. There he is, with the alien child. Shots rang out. Ryan fired back, taking cover behind jagged rocks. He fought like a man with nothing left to lose. His bullets found their marks. Soldiers fell, but more came. An alien patrol arrived from the other side, their eyes locked on Lyra, the princess. "Bring her to the Queen." They shouted in their language. Ryan was trapped, both sides closing in. He lifted Lyra into his arms and ran toward a ridge. Explosions shook the ground under his feet. Rocks tumbled down, cutting off the path behind them. At the top of the ridge, Ryan stopped. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. Below him stretched the battlefield, human and alien soldiers locked in brutal combat. Smoke curled into the sky and through the chaos. He saw them, the Queen's guards, tall and armored, their weapons glowing with power. They pushed through the battle with unstoppable force. Behind them, a golden carriage floated. Protected by energy shields, Lyra gasped, her voice breaking. Mother, the alien queen herself, was there. Standing tall in her silver crown, her eyes scanned the valley with desperation. Searching for her daughter, Ryan's heart pounded. He knew what would happen if he stepped forward. The humans would call him a traitor forever. The aliens might kill him, yet he also knew he had no choice. He had promised Lyra, but before he could move, a plasma bolt struck the ground near him. He staggered, falling to one knee, his arm burned with pain. Human soldiers had reached the ridge. Their commander shouting, "Take the child. Kill him if you must." Ryan stood, his rifle raised, his eyes blazed with defiance. "You'll have to go through me first." The fight was brutal. Ryan fired until his rifle clicked empty. He used his knife, his fists, his very strength, his body bled. His vision blurred, but he refused to fall. He shielded Lyra with his body again and again. At last, the Queen's guards reached the ridge. They surrounded Ryan, weapons pointed. He dropped his knife, raising his hands. "Ready for death," Lyra screamed, running to her mother's soldiers. "No, don't hurt him. He saved me." The guards froze, shocked by her words. The alien queen herself stepped forward. Her eyes widened as she saw Ryan battered, bleeding. Standing protectively over her child, Lyra ran into her mother's arms. Sobbing, "He kept me safe. He fought for me. He is not our enemy." The queen's gaze softened. She touched her daughter's face, then looked at Ryan. For a long moment, silence ruled the battlefield. Even the soldiers from both sides paused, watching this unexpected scene. Ryan expected death, but instead, the queen raised her hand. "This human has done what no soldier from either side has done. He protected innocence. He risked his life not for victory, but for love and honor." Her voice rang across the valley. Strong and clear, both armies listened, stunned. "Any hand raised against him will answer to me," she declared. Her guards lowered their weapons. The human soldiers hesitated, fear in their eyes. Ryan, bleeding and exhausted, lowered his head. He had survived the impossible, but he knew the story was not yet over. The queen had spared him for now. The battlefield was silent, but the tension was heavier than ever. The final decision would belong to the queen, and her judgment would change everything. A wonderful reward. The battlefield was silent. The smoke cleared slowly, revealing soldiers on both sides standing still, watching the queen and the human soldier. Ryan's chest rose and fell heavily, blood staining his uniform. His rifle lay broken at his feet, yet his stance was steady. He was ready for death, but instead of anger, the alien queen's eyes softened. She held Lyra close, her daughter's small arms wrapped around her. The queen's voice carried through the valley, strong yet filled with emotion. "This human saved my child when all others failed. He chose mercy over war. He chose protection over power." The alien soldiers bowed their heads. The human soldiers exchanged nervous glances. None had expected such words from their enemy. Ryan straightened his back. His voice was rough but steady. "I don't ask for rewards. I only ask that she lives free. She is a child, not a weapon." The queen stepped forward. Her silver crown reflected the morning light. She looked at him with respect. "And yet you will be rewarded, not with riches, but with honor, for today. You have shown both our people what humanity truly means." Lyra broke free from her mother's embrace and ran back to Ryan. Her small arms wrapped around his waist. "Don't leave me. You are my protector." Ryan knelt down, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You are safe now. You belong with your mother." His voice trembled slightly. He did not want to let her go, but he knew it was the right thing. The queen saw this and raised her hand. "No, You will not be cast aside. You are now under my protection as well. Any who harm you will face my wrath." Gasps spread through both armies. A human soldier protected by the Queen. It was unthinkable, yet here it was. Unfolding before their eyes, the Queen turned to her generals. "Send word across the stars. The war ends here. Today we choose peace." Her words thundered like a storm. The alien army lowered their weapons. The human soldiers hesitated. But without orders from their leaders, they too pulled back the battlefield. Once filled with death, now stood still in fragile silence. Ryan felt his knees weaken. The long nights of running, the endless battles. The pain of betrayal, it all weighed on him at once. He would have collapsed, but Lyra held his hand tightly, her small strength giving him the will to stay standing. The Queen stepped closer and spoke softly so only he could hear. "You saved what was most precious to me. I cannot give you back what you lost in this war. But I can give you a place, a family, and a new beginning." Ryan's eyes burned. But he kept his composure. He nodded slowly. "Then I will accept. Not for myself, but for her future and for the hope of peace." The Queen raised her voice again, announcing for all to hear, "From this day forward, this human will be honored as guardian of my daughter. His courage will be remembered in the songs of our people." The soldiers, human and alien alike, looked on in disbelief. Some felt anger, some felt relief, but none could deny what they had witnessed. A soldier from the enemy had saved the princess, and the Queen herself had named him Protector. Lyra's face lit up with joy. "You're staying with us." Ryan smiled faintly. "As long as you need me." "Little one," the Queen extended her hand toward him. A gesture of peace never seen before. Ryan took it. His calloused human hand met her elegant alien one. And in that moment, the weight of centuries of hatred seemed to lift. Behind them, the mountains stood tall, silent witnesses to the change. The sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light over the battlefield. A new chapter was beginning, not written in blood, but in trust. Ryan looked at the armies, then back at the Queen and Lyra. He knew his life could never return to what it was. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a bridge between two worlds. The Queen declared, "This war is over. Let this human's courage be the foundation of peace." And so it was. The soldiers slowly left the valley, carrying with them the memory of what they had seen. Ryan remained with the Queen and her daughter, not as a prisoner, not as an enemy, but as family. For his reward was not gold or power, but something great: honor, trust, and a bond that would change the galaxy. The little girl he saved smiled up at him, her pendant glowing brighter than ever. And Ryan finally felt what he thought he had lost forever: a purpose worth living for.